What's up everybody? Georgia Farming and Flu Vlog. Got an update for you. It's the middle of April. It's super hot in Atlanta, mid 80s. And right behind me, you can see the dwarf namwah. We survived the winter in the greenhouse. The greenhouse is down now. All the frosts are gone. We did have a late frost here at the end of March, which was unexpected, but it survived. The outer layers took quite a beating, but I've trimmed them up, and I think we're looking good. You know, there's still some like questionable, you know, coloring inside, but as you kind of look underneath, I think we're solid. I think this guy's gonna fruit pretty early in the summer, which is exactly what we're looking for to have time to ripen. The only thing that I might consider is, since I took away some of the trunk, is to maybe like support it when it does fruit so we don't break or anything. But we have a nice healthy leaf. This is the one right here that was on for the frost and it died. The next one that came out only did like a partial. And then the one that's coming out right now seems to be completely healthy. It does seem like it's not gonna come all the way out. Might need to trim this up a little more just to give it some space. Here's another one that got hurt in the frost, but I think we're on track. The one last year, when I cut it down, it actually had the flower inside of it. So we were about to flower and fruit, and it wasn't much taller than this one. So I'd say 5, 6 more leaves. Maybe, let's see, it's April, May. I'd say definitely by the end of June at the latest, we have a flower and fruit on this one. Just the real question is like what kind of damage it took over the winter, any rot or fungus or anything. I'm gonna cut these pups out today to make sure that all the nutrients and growth goes into this big guy for now, and then we'll leave a pup later this winter. As for the double Mahoy, the big one with the bananas, I gave the update, that one died, I cut it down. The pup that I was going to leave, this one right here, just wasn't looking very good. It had some really bad fungus inside. It got too moist and wasn't draining well, so I cut it down. It's starting to grow back, but I'm gonna cut it out again. And this pup right here, this is gonna be the one that we allow to grow up and fruit this year. I think unfortunately, it's probably gonna fruit pretty late in the summer. It might not ripen, but we're gonna try some techniques for cutting and ripening indoors. So we'll see. I think, you know, this is the 3rd generation now, so it should grow pretty quickly. As for the blue Java, they're all growing pretty well. They survived the winter. I think I'm actually going to cut this banana or dig it up out of the ground and replace it, because in Atlanta, these just grow to be so big, like almost 20 feet tall before they fruit, where it's unlikely that I'm ever gonna get a good harvest out of this plant. So I'm gonna replace it with my Veinte Cohol. This was the one indoors. I've had it outside now for a couple times. Again, the frost got these 2 leaves, but we have a fantastic healthy leaf coming out. I need to get this in the ground because if you guys remember, this is the fastest growing banana in the world. And it is a dwarf. It's kind of in between a dwarf and a regular size one, so it does get pretty big. But we're gonna put that in the ground because I really have high expectations that this one's gonna fruit this year. And then here's the truly tiny. It is just thriving. So I'm gonna trim that one up today. Just take away some of these leaves. There's just way too many on here. It's crowding the plant. And I don't know if I'm gonna put it in the ground. Let me know what you guys think, if I should plant this one. I'm gonna hold off for now. Just because it's kind of nice just being in a pot. I can move it wherever I want. And fruiting it doesn't really matter, because I think it will actually technically fruit, but you can't eat them or anything. So it's kind of interesting. I also want to like make sure I get a pup off of this eventually. So I don't know if it's worth putting in the ground, because I don't know how long it's going to take. It still doesn't put off a pup. I've had it for a year now. But yeah, let's start with putting this one in the ground. Again, like I said, I'm going to dig this one up and then replace it, just because I've got so many here and they grow so fast that, like, in Atlanta, I don't have anywhere just to dump remains. So it's like when this thing grows up so many pups and to 20 feet tall, it's just a pain to try and cut it down and dispose of every year. So I'm gonna limit to ones that I actually think are gonna fruit and do well in my environment. So I'm gonna replace it. Let's get started. Here's the start of digging it up. You can see the corm, the root ball here at the bottom is probably 2 feet in diameter. The roots now go probably 5-6 feet underground, but those don't really matter as long as we dig up this main part. It'll come out. It's coming out real nice. Gonna keep digging up around it, and then we'll have a nice sized hole for the Veinte Cohol. All right, we're ready to plant. Got the hole ready. Check out, you can see all those roots. Like I said, probably go 5-6 feet in every direction. So those will die off, no big deal. To plant, as my videos have shown, you want a combination of just any sort of like, you know, dirt and manure mix. I just use like the potting soil or like the ground soil, 50-50 mixed with cow manure. That's what this is in here, so I'm just gonna reuse that so I don't have any more. Some pine bark just to put on top so it doesn't dry out, and then some basic 10-10-10 fertilizers to throw in here to give it a little boost of growth. So let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and try to knock this thing down and see what kind of size hole I need to dig, if it needs to go any bigger, and just like what the root ball is looking like. We want to stretch all the roots. I have a feeling it's so big, it's probably all spiral bound inside here. So we'll need to like break those up, give them a good chance to survive. I think it's pretty tall. There might just be a bunch of dirt waste at the bottom, but maybe not. Might have to make this a little deeper though. So let's see, let's get this out. Admittedly, I greatly underestimated the difficulty in getting this out of the bucket. This thing probably weighs 200 pounds. And it's just not sliding out like I thought it would. And it's kind of hard. I don't want to pull on the trunk because it might just break off from the root ball. I don't know, so I'm trying to dig it out slowly and see if I can just kind of slide it out in a second once I get some of the weight out and just kind of loosen it from the bucket. Got it out as expected. The root ball was really just that top part. There were some roots that went down into the dirt below. Some of them got cut off, but I think you can see probably the bottom third, a little over a third, is just dirt down here. So we'll use this to replant. But this hole should definitely be big enough, so we're gonna go ahead and just get it in there and then start filling in. All right, I've got it all planted. I put some fertilizer on there and the pine bark on top. Trimmed up the leaves. We're looking real healthy. This is gonna be the one to watch. I'll make sure to give some good updates here, more frequent. We've already got a really healthy leaf coming out. I'm excited. I think this one's definitely gonna fruit this summer. I also trimmed this one up. We got the one pup here. A little bit of browning on that new leaf, but it should get better as it grows out. I'm not worried about it at all. Added some fertilizer and then cleaned up all the pups on this one. I decided to leave one just because I want to make sure this one actually makes it and is healthy. If not, we might have to cut it down early and let this one go. But again, I'm really confident there's some really healthy growth at the top. But we're just gonna wait a couple weeks before we remove that one. Truly tiny. Trimmed it up as well. It's looking really nice. I'm excited to see some little baby fruit on this. I'm gonna leave it in the pot for now. Let me know if you guys think I should do different. And then let me take you over and show you the peach trees. Here are the two peach trees. They're both Red Haven peach trees. We had some great flowering earlier. As you can see, we've already got a ton of peaches on here. There's two right there, one right there. There's a bunch up here. We're gonna have a lot again this year. I'm excited for that. Pruned them up a little bit, just so they looked better visually. Gonna cut off all these little twigs that are growing at the bottom. But we had really good success with the net last year. I think this year I'm gonna try just cutting them up really high and maybe putting something around the trunk so that they just can't even get on the tree itself, since we don't really have an area to get onto. They could jump from there, so we'll have to watch that. But I think that's gonna be the easier form this year, just because they're getting so tall. I mean, they've almost tripled in size over the last 2 years, which is crazy. This is definitely the kind of tree you want to get if you want quick, fast fruit, and a lot of it. Peach trees and banana trees. Thanks for watching this update, guys. It's a really hot one here, but we got everything in the ground. It's looking good. I'll make sure to update you guys soon. Hopefully we'll get some fruit. See ya.